Good afternoon, Master Tanaka. Good afternoon, friend Helena. I am Gautama Buddha, and I am here to bring some observations. Within the terrestrial plane, you receive guidance or access information on what represents the process of creation that each human being generates. Then, you access information that everyone is connected to a collective consciousness, which determines the experience in the terrestrial plane. Within these words, many question what this represents in tangible form because they are within a system of beliefs, and they interpret their belief as a form they generate from several experiences within this incarnation process. They even say that the construction of their belief was generated only by themselves. But what should be observed? When there is a collective consciousness, we naturally say that all of you are connected because there is a form of expression in the terrestrial plane, precisely what you conduct in your daily life. So naturally, where everyone is connected in tangible form, it is in their free will. When you hear these words, you even begin to question, but if there is always this free will called truth, why is it still placed that the collective consciousness is interfering in my thinking, feeling, and acting? Even if you do not have full consciousness, everyone reinforces this collective consciousness because you begin to generate observations, not through your inner world. So many times, you even forget your inner world. Within many beings, even the inner world remains unknown, and they begin to refer to the truth as the outer world. But the outer world only brings the expression of what is already created within each one of you. What is essential to be remembered? Naturally, the energy in which you were created, because it is from understanding and acceptance of this energy that you can also lead a reformulation of yourselves and, through this renewal of your self-interpretation, reinterpret the collective consciousness. Remember that when referring to consciences, we refer to what we believe to be. So, within each of you, you refer to yourself as a system of beliefs. Naturally, the focus must always be directed to your beliefs. When you start talking about a desire, you say, I want to generate a form of experience. I want to lead my life within a certain pattern. Then, you start talking about a pattern as a truth for yourself. As this pattern is being exercised in its form of experience, naturally, all patterns are allowed. Through this understanding, you will start to self-orient, which is precisely what you call a pattern because what you must observe, everything you are talking about, is being placed, which is your belief. Everything for you is your truth, and you start to accept within yourself that you are recognized as being your pattern and, naturally, what you assume to be your truth. When you hear these words, many start to generate several questions, even asking me, Master Buddha, help us understand the process of consciousness. When you are on the earthly plane, you are called through your thoughts and feelings. Some beings do not fully understand what this represents in their behavior. So, we will make observations within these processes, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. You are inserted in societies, groups, families, and countries on the earth plane. So, all this refers to relationships. When you recognize yourself through your relationships, you can even start to say that you are a group divided through these forms of thought, feeling, and behavior. You must observe that these expressions represent choices you make in your experience. However, you must always be aware that this does not represent a system of differences. That is why it is through this understanding that you accept that harmony can permanently be established on the earthly plane. You still generate differences through religious dogmas and differences in forms of culture, but all these are interpretations you maintain through systems of attachment. These observations are for you to realize what it means to be aware of the use of your free will. You can always generate choices because it is a world of God, a world of permission, but what I bring within an orientation for you to establish in your options is always that what you are determining are only forms of experiences. You are here physically, in the process of reincarnation, to experiment. Through awareness of the experience, you will start to conduct yourself in a way you generate through understanding. Always remember that you are conductors of information because all of you are immersed in forms of relationships. All of you are generating processes that even interpret to be connections, that even interpret to be joints of yourself, but what should always be observed, everything you are generating through your free will is an individual form of experience. So, when you have this understanding, and it is being placed on each of you, that you are conductors of information, what do you start to understand? Through your interpretation, you say your information and allow yourself to conduct a form of consciousness that can always be expressed in harmony and acceptance. From the moment you accept your free will, this means that you accept your free will, and you accept the free will of your neighbor. It is through this that harmony is established. Always remember that when it is being informed that all of you are generating experiences through your permission, then when you raise this degree of understanding of your permission, it is where you begin to allow to develop this collective consciousness, to lead this collective consciousness precisely to its interpretation of peace and harmony. So, through this intention that everyone generates in themselves, of being these conductors of harmony, of peace, it is where you will be establishing a vibrational state so that this collective consciousness, which is filled with these varied beliefs, can be vibrating precisely in the state of peace and harmony. When you understand this factor, then it is where you will begin to realize what is being conducted through your being, what you are allowing yourself to experience on the ground level, and how to perform this information so that everyone can access the state of self-understanding within themselves. With these words, I say goodbye. Thank you very much.